Trump on the Chos Islands' future as Downing Street indicates the Prime Minister's resolve to complete a arrangement with Mauritius in face of fierce resistance from Washington. A spokesperson for the No. 10 party has implied that Starmer is moving forward with talks to cede sovereignty of the Indian Ocean archipelago to Mauritius, a move that has raised security worries within Trump's inner circle. We will go into great length about this in today's video or when reviewing the most recent national stories, but first please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and become a part of our rapidly expanding community. Just a quick note to let you know that we do have brand new OneCare t-shirts available on our website. Visit British.com or click the link in the description. The 47th president's allies worry that handing over the islands could have major geopolitical repercussions, especially in light of China and Iran's increasing influence in the area. The Chagos Islands, which are home to the strategically important U.S. military base on Diego Garcia and serve as a vital hub for Western military operations in the Indian Ocean, are home to the strategically important UK military base. Despite these worries, Washington sources cautioned that giving the area to the MAIS could give Beijing and TAN a chance to increase their influence in the area, thus jeopardizing our security interests and those of the Allies. Following a discussion between Starmer and Mayan Prime Minister Navin Ramgoolam this afternoon, the British Prime Minister now looks determined to proceed with an agreement, despite the fact that talks had been postponed until after Trump's inauguration. The Prime Minister emphasized the need for a deal to secure the military base on Diego Garcia that ensures strong protections, including from malicious influence, and that will allow the base to continue operating. A Downing Street spokesperson reaffirmed the UK's commitment to securing a deal, saying the leaders started by reflecting on their first months in office and discussing the strong relationship between the UK and MAIS, which they looked forward to expanding. The timing of Starmer's renewed push is noteworthy since it comes only weeks after MAIS intimated that it had secured additional concessions from Britain in negotiations over the Chagos Islands. Both presidents reaffirmed their commitment to a solution and expressed excitement for meeting with each other soon. Speaking on January 14 in Port Louis, Mayan Attorney General Gavin Glover indicated that talks in London had produced encouraging outcomes, saying, "We had a productive meeting in London and have not come empty-handed from London." Reports from London suggest that one of those possible concessions could involve a substantial Britain's financial commitment. According to reports, Starmer's government is thinking about paying $90 million a year to maintain access to the Diego Garcia military facility, which would add up to £9 billion over the course of the planned 100-year lease. According to reports, Mayan Prime Minister Ramgoolam has advocated for a more profitable. His government is thought to be requesting greater financial compensation and assurances of economic benefits as part of the Sovereignty Transfer Pact, stating that the original draft arrangement would not yield the benefits the country could anticipate. Despite Starmer's assurances that the agreement would protect US and UK interests, Trump allies raised security alarms. The Downing Street statement's language hasn't done much to allay worries in Washington, particularly the reference to malicious influence that seems to echo Trump's administration's warnings about China's increasing presence in the Indian Ocean in an appointed statement after a call with UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy. Marco Rubio, Trump's Secretary of State, publicly denounced the agreement and warned of its possible repercussions. While official readouts from the US and UK did not specifically mention the Chagos Islands, the US version of the call did explicitly highlight concerns over China's malign activities, reinforcing fears that Beijing could use the handover to further its strategic goals. With Starmer pressing ahead and Trump's allies sounding the alarm, the fate of the Chagos Islands is shaping up to be a major transatlantic flashpoint that could strain relations between London and Washington. The former Florida senator said that this agreement is concerning because it would give Communist China a chance to obtain valuable intelligence on our naval support facility in Mauritius, posing a serious threat to our national security interests in the Indian Ocean. In other news reform, Trump makes his comeback to the White House. UK leader Nigel Farage has launched a pointed attack at former Prime Minister Boris Johnson as he gave a poignant speech to mark the 5th anniversary of Brexit. Speaking to party supporters in northwest Essex, the constituency of current Tory leader Keir Farage claimed that the UK leaving the European Union was the greatest constitutional victory for the country in centuries. However, Farage took aim at Johnson and told the audience that it was a case of game playing for the former Conservative Premier at the time of Brexit. Farage said, 5 years ago I was getting ready to go to Parliament Square where Richard Tye and I had organised the big rally and about 100,000 people turned up. The joy in the crowd was incredible. We had achieved something remarkable. It was the greatest constitutional victory against the establishment seen for many centuries in Britain. And yet where was Boris Johnson criticising Johnson? Farage fumed. He was in 10 Downing Street rather pathetically banging a gong. Do you remember the faces of Michael Gove and Boris Johnson the morning after the referendum? They looked in total shock. They didn't really want to leave the European Union. It was all a game about who leads the Conservative Party. Delivering his verdict on whether Brexit was a success for Britain, Farage acknowledged that, despite its constitutional success, it has failed to address migration. According to Farage, it is a victory from a constitutional standpoint that we are leaving and won't be returning, which is crucial for foreign policy. Whether you agree with it or not, the leadership we took over Ukraine was not something we could have done under a common European foreign policy, and as a result, we stand far taller on the global stage with Brexit than we ever did before. Whether you support vaccinations or not, the rollout of the vaccine was successful because we were allowed to do so without the European Union. Millions of people, however, voted for Brexit because they believed it was the best option to regain control of our borders and address the escalating British issue. 5 years on from Brexit, Farage explained 130,000 young men crossing the English Channel in dinghies, net migration going up in 2023 to 1 million a year. There are so many people out there who feel literally betrayed, but my message to them is this: they weren't betrayed by Brexit, they were betrayed by a Conservative government elected on the back of Brexit with considerable help from myself, who never ever believed in it in the first place, who never really intended to deliver lower numbers coming into our country, and who thought they could get away with it in a pointed attack at current Tory leader Keir Starmer from her constituency. Farage concluded, well folks, I'm back and they won't get away with it, and frankly they should never be forgiven for what they've done. Isn't it great here in northwest Essex? And I checked the numbers just before coming onto the stage. We now in this constituency alone have 490 paid up members and 460 registered supporters. That in northwest Essex alone. And I tell you what folks, I think we can build on these numbers. There is momentum behind this party, there is optimism and energy behind this party, and we know what we stand for: family, community and country. Lastly, King Charles looks set to star in a feature-length documentary on Amazon Prime, with filming already underway at Dumfries House in Scotland. The film aims to show, not tell, viewers how to transform people, places, and ultimately the planet. Palace sources have claimed it marks a significant departure from traditional royal documentaries which have typically been produced by British broadcasters like the BBC and ITV. The King is looking forward to seeing how the harmony concept can be conveyed to a new and international audience using some of the best creative talents in TV, according to a source who told The Times, more than any other documentary he has done before. The goal appears to be to tell the world what the King stands for and what he is all about. Please share your thoughts about the topics we covered in today's video in the comments box below. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more British stuff. Thank you, and take care.